whoop, there this fire alarm goes off. Now I'm like new in this building. I don't know what's going on. So what's happening now? That's a bomb threat that's going off. So what's happening next? Oh, the building needs to be evacuated. And he said to me that he's got this contract. It's a one-man site. He's got this contract. He can offer me 2,000 rand a month, right? If I'm interested. And then I went to him and I said to him, look, guy, here's your car keys. Like, this is not for me. Because besides the way you've treated me, right? After everything I've done for you, right? Besides the way you've treated me, there's something else that you're doing that's going to be your downfall. And I don't want to be part of it. He said, give him a day, he'll come back to me. Within that day, I made my decision. I'm leaving.
Welcome to the Securityguy'd Podcast. I'm your host, Rafi Musaji, and each week we try to get you a special guest. And today I have another special guest in the house, Tahir Johnson. Tahir Johnson, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing alhamdulillah, doing a bit nervous, but otherwise I'm okay.
Is it? How's the fast going?
Fast is going okay. Warm weather makes it a bit difficult. We have to stick to it.
How was yesterday's weather? Eh?
Yesterday was crazy. It was crazy,
enormous,
absolutely crazy.
Hot day. I think it was like some places like 40 and whatever. But you're lucky we're in a aircon place. So guys, if you don't know, Tahir is one of our senior inspectors, and I thought that that we bring him on and he will share some of his experiences with us on a little bit about the security industry and also just who he was. So let's get into it. So tell us, what was your first encounter into security? How did you get introduced? Take us way back.
Okay, taking you back way back. Okay, when I finished school, I always had this desire to join the South African police force, right? So when I finished school, trying to get into the police force was difficult because at that moment in time,
what year was that in? More or less, so people can
90, if I'm
so that's post apartheid, like
that's post apartheid.
Yeah, so that's Mandela's not even released, or
what was he released? 1990.
1990.
Yeah. Just after that, the police post was frozen. Right, so I couldn't go to the police force and didn't want to sit at home. So I decided, just one morning, got up and contacted the South African National Defence Force, and the next day I was off, going to the Defence Force.
Yeah,
going to South African National Defence Force, where I did my basic training at what they call 9 SAI, which is the infantry training school here next to Makassar, Kailicha. And then from there, went on to Bloemfontein, did the rest of my basic training there. After, I didn't want to stay in the South African Defence Force because naturally, police was the detective branch, basically. That was my aim, to go in there and work
to become a detective.
Yeah, and work my way up there.
Okay.
I don't know. I had this passion. I was born in Worcester, right?
In Worcester, I was just thinking. Yeah.
So I was basically plain Afrikaans speaking, and then coming to Cape Town. I think speaking of correction, the age of 9, 10, we stayed with family, and they.
Where in Cape Town you stayed?
Yeah, in Mitchells Plain. Mitchells Plain just started off. Yeah.
Okay. Was it much smaller back then?
Way smaller than it is now. You basically had Westridge, which was, I think it was the first suburb in Mitchells Plain.
Is it interesting?
Yes, and then you had Lentig here. Lentig is divided with the train line. So the section on this side here, where you find the mosque down the road, it was on that section. That was the first part of Lentig here, basically. And then they started building on the other side. And we stayed with family, and they being English speaking. I remember one day we were playing in the road. And this girl, she called me something, and I misinterpreted what she was saying. I thought she called me a tomato, and I got upset and everything, and it became an argument and whatever. And only when the adults now intervened, it was find out that she actually said to me, "I'm Tati."
Oh, you Tati?
Yes, and I heard tomato, nah? like you're a tomato or stuff like that. And I felt so embarrassed
Sure.
because now everybody's like speaking English and I'm this pure Afrikaans lady, and that prompted me
To learn
to
English.
learn English and start going to the library. So every afternoon after school, on Saturday mornings, I used to be in the library. Now my dad, he used to do the subscription to the newspapers, like the Argus, the Cape Times, Sunday Times, and the Report newspaper. That's like an everyday thing. And then I would grab the newspaper and then read it from the front to the back, and then from the back to the front.
That's how you learned your English.
That's how I learned my English. And
Wow.
then I would, especially on the sports pages, because I'm sports crazy. And then I would spend like reading the whole week the same sports news. My dad, like, I'm paying for the newspaper. When am I going to read the newspaper? And you've been reading the thing from back to front. But that is how I learned myself English, right? Because I'm not going to be in that situation again where I'm embarrassed,
Yeah,
not knowing
no.
what people are saying.
So so it's actually a good thing that what that woman did for you. She made you feel
Well,
in a
if you
certain.
look at it that way, yeah.
She made you feel in a certain way, and you acted, which is a good thing. I mean, I think basically sometimes people do things and say certain things, and it gives us a certain feeling. And now you need to feel, you know what, you feel inadequate. You know what, you actually maybe sometimes it's nasty, but it makes you grow up.
Makes yeah.
Especially like we spoke in the earlier podcast about bullying and things like that. Sometimes you don't allow people to bully you. So it's things like that. Be growing up, but interesting. So you now, so you grew up basically now in Cape Town. Basically, you're most of your
since the age of 10, 11. Yeah, I've been in Cape Town all my life. Yeah, after that. And so obviously, coming back from the Defence Force, the police post was still frozen, but they had this thing that they called kids constables, right? Which is like you didn't even have to have grade 12 that time, grade 10, sometimes even grade 8. And they would take you in. It's almost like it was a temporary thing. And we were friendly crew that always were together from school. And some of us didn't want to join this thing because we wanted a permanent position, and others decided to do it. And then I think after 2 years, they were incorporated into the South African Police Force. So they become fully fledged police members. And wow, we were now thinking like, did we make the wrong decision and stuff like that? But obviously, as experience has told us now over the years, even that step that the police took to put that kids constables, like whatever they call them, into the police force, that it just didn't work out at the end of the day. And all of my friends that entered the police force like that is out of the police force. There was just this political thing and other pressures.
What year was that in?
Mr. Musaki, to speak under correction, I think we're speaking now 94, 93, 94.
Okay, yes, there was a lot of posts that was open up that time. Remember?
Yeah.
After I do remember, and a lot of the guys that took it, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out for them.
Yes,
I didn't work out because there was too many differences: salaries, education.
So you
just a lot of.
So you didn't go into it.
No. I
You
decided.
could see that
I decided against it, and for me it was almost like they put you in there, but you're just an entry level guy. You're not gonna.
There's no growth over there.
There's no growth prospects.
It was just to tick the boxes that they're going to get people of color.
Exactly.
They can put them in the system. So you saw already from the word go. So
now, kind of being in this industry, all right, what was going to be my next step?
Yes.
So I decided, let's try security, because security, you can get in, you can get out. So if the post open in the police force, I can still go out, right? So then I decided I'm going to join the security industry. I started off with a company called Armour Security.
Oh, right? Yes. Back in the days.
Yeah.
But before you started back then, how was the training back then, the SIRA training and things like that?
Okay, we didn't have this self-study courses that they have today, right? So you basically have to study for your grades and stuff like that. It wasn't too much difficult for me coming out of school recently.
So was the academy you went to at that time, or did they send you on the internal one?
You had to go to academy, right? To be honest with you, I can't even remember where I went to that time. But and then you go in, you get the position there by Armour Security. I remember my very first site if you can call it
Yes.
like that.
Tell us that
The
encounter.
very first sight.
So were you posted as a guard or as an inspector?
Posted no as a guard. You started with E grade. That time it wasn't like we basically now we start off with C grade people,
Yes,
right?
because there's no minimum wage
That time
on
it
it.
was E grade. So you start off with E grade. You just want to get into the and
Patrol
remember
officer.
my whole aim was not to stay in the industry, right? It was just basically as a means to an end to get some money and whatever until the police post open, right? So my very first site I remember, if you can call it a site, was on the harbour in Cape Town, what we call the docks.
Oh,
right?
docks, yes.
A passenger, not a passenger, a fish boat, right?
So Waterfront must have been very fresh because they opened up in 1992, Waterfront. Eh?
Yeah, that time, it was mostly where the fishing boats used to dock. It's not like inside the waterfront; it's like just outside it. And the waterfront basically was in its
By
infant
Clock
stages.
Towers, maybe that side?
Yeah, by the clock tower side.
That side there,
Yeah.
I&J's there.
Yeah, I&J. I remember I&J because if I stand in the boat, I look straight into the I&J sign. And what was fascinating on this boat, right? It was a Taiwanese boat.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, all you had to do was you had to stand there and do access control, basically. Who comes onto the boat, who goes off the boat and stuff like that, right? So you work day shift and you work night shift there. And famously or infamously, what struck me on that boat was, right, the people, the boat was obviously docked in the harbor for quite some time. And I would like look at, when during the day it also happened, but obviously during the night shift, it just went to another level, was the cars that pulled up there, all right? And this was now high-class escorts
Okay.
that comes there for these fishermen, right? They book this escort thing, and then they would come to security and say, listen, at such and such a time, somebody's coming to pick me up, right? So we know we have to either allow them onto the boat until a certain stage, or that guy's allowed to go off the boat. But what struck me was the grand cars that pulled up there.
But then if you're saying escorts, then there must have been some underworld people there because that's just generally...
Look, that time...
That wasn't so regulated.
That time it was not...
like how it is now.
Yeah, like it is now. So we basically wouldn't even notice. We wouldn't even notice, like, this is underground people or whatever. All you noticed was the fancy cars that pulled up there. And then it was mostly white girls. And then, like, wow, my mother would have been like, look at my daughter-in-law, whatever. Look at it was like pretty girls, man. They pull up there, Porsches, BMWs, Mercs, and then you would ask these guys, where are you going? He said, yeah, I'm going to the hotel. I'm going to the hotel. I'm going to have fun. That is what their English was very broken, but they would tip you very nicely onto the boats.
So they were from China, these people, like this.
Chinese, Taiwanese boats and that thing, and they would tip you very nice. And then, like, once a week, you would come home. I remember I had the police had these coats, these long coats, the blue coats. I had a coat like that, and I used to wear this coat on a night shift. And then that time I was traveling by train from Cape Town to Mitchell's Plain. We would get a lift with a company vehicle from the docks to the train station, Cape Town Central train station, and then I would carry the jacket in my hand like this, like a baby.
Sure.
And everybody would like, what is in the jacket? Why are you carrying the jacket like that? And then I have a distance of about 2.5 kilometers to walk from the train station to our house. And then when I come there, I would knock on the door and just drop my jacket on the floor. My mom would come and open the door and, why is your jacket laying on the floor? I said, Mom, that's your baby now. I'm done. And that would be a very big tunny fish.
Okay, a tunny fish.
That would be a very big tunny fish I was carrying like that.
Okay.
Right?
That's how they should tip you.
That's money-wise, and they would give you fish on
Perks,
a regular...
security
Perks was
perks.
lekker. Yeah, they would give you fish on a regular basis and stuff like that. But I didn't stay there long. I think...
Yeah, so how did you progress from there to your next...
Okay.
Because were you always thinking... Because I always think at some security guards that do watches, because the whole thing about it is you need to think of how you're going to progress to your next stage. You understand? Because you know what most security guards do when they get their first paycheck. You tell me, what do they do? now while they're staying in poverty? Where's the first store they go to?
Those that drink liquor store, obviously
Exactly.
spend it.
Exactly.
Spend it.
Oh, so that's why they stay in that position. But I'm saying, like with you now, you obviously stated you were at an E grade god. How did you obviously had that mindset of wanting to grow and get
Look, like I said, it wasn't my first choice, right, to be in the security industry at that time. So now you knew there, so you're learning stuff and whatever. So you basically just go to work and go home and get your
okay.
paycheck at the end of the day. But I stayed there for about 5 months. And
Okay.
then I said, nah, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to go to a boat every day and see hookers and get fish. And that's not what, that
You're
is not
getting
how,
real fish
that is
there.
not how I see
By
myself.
dock road, eh?
That is not how I see myself.
Yeah.
And then I resigned. And I stayed at home for about 2-3 weeks. And then
You moved to another company.
having had a taste of the industry, all right, now I'm at home. So naturally, I was now checking out other companies and stuff like that. And then I saw that the biggest company at that time in the Western Cape was Grey Security Services. And then you had Federal Guarding, which was very close to them in terms of size-wise. And I tried my luck there. I remember their head office was in Salt River. I went there, and that was an eye-opener. Because to get into Grey Security, I had to go through 3 interviews before they accepted me in Grey Security. I started off again as a normal guard, right? But that being said,
You saw more structure at this company.
very much. It was
Open up your
very
mind.
different. Yeah, very different from what I've experienced at Armor Guard. Armor Guard was more like, military orientated. So like you have to stand on parade in the mornings. They check your shoes shining and all that jazz. Whereas by Grey Security, it was a much more, would I say, a structured, professional, corporate environment kind of,
Okay.
right? Like they had everything in place, man. And I started off with them, um, and within two 2 months, I got promotion from a normal guard to a senior on one of the sites that I was working, and things just after that just started happening very quickly.
So you
Um,
worked your way up the ranks quickly.
very very quickly.
So your management team really had faith
Look,
in you.
yes, I had a very close and open relationship with the management of Grey
Grey
Security,
Security.
and that includes directors, right? Where just before I left, and I'm going to tell you now the reason why I left there. By the time when I left Grey Security, I was in such a level where I used to enjoy playing action cricket and golf with the directors. Now, how many guards can say that they do
Yes.
that with directors in a massive company like that? But that was just the relationship that we had. No? I moved to a couple of sites while in total, I spent 6 years at Grey Security. I moved to a couple of very, very big
What
sites.
year was it up till?
Um,
2002, 2001, 2000,
I have to think now.
or 2000
I
something.
have to think.
I think it's
just
around about
just
2000.
around about 2000,
Yes.
2001, around about there. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think 2001. I'm going to say now why I think so. Yeah, I moved to a couple of very big sites for them, no? Like Old Mutual in Pinelands.
Mhm.
That was one of the sites. There was a reason why I was sent to a site like that because they had a issue there on the site where laptops went missing out of that big building, walking out the door like running water. So it was a big concern, and I was sent there um, by the senior management of Grey Security at that time.
Mhm.
The very first thing that I made quite clear to them was that you're sending me there, and I appreciate the confidence that you have in me, and that you think that I have the capabilities to, unearth whatever's happening there. But just bear in mind one thing: I'm not going there to spy on people. If you want me to spy on people, I'm not doing that. I will go there, I will do my work, and I
You
will
had principles.
observe. Yeah, I will observe and take note of everything, and I will forward that information to you. But I'm not going there specifically to go spy on people, right? And they understood. They understood that that is my principles and whatever. Um, I went there. We successfully solved that issue. I started with him the Claremont Improvement District project, right? It was challenging, but it was fun. So my knowledge in the security industry, went into diverse directions. So it wasn't just like a guarding thing. You learn
Mm.
other stuff, and like I said, in gray security, things just happened very quickly for me. Right?
And
Um,
how was things back then? Like, the crime and the sort of challenges that you used to have
Not
back then,
not
like
not
how
at
it's
the
today.
level that we see today in South Africa, to be honest, right? We still had, obviously, you still have your challenges and stuff like that, but it was a much more relaxed industry, if I can put it that way, than what we're experiencing today, right? Today, it's like crime all over. Your eyes need to be open 24/7, right?
Yeah.
That time we could basically relax, man. You come, you do your work, you go home and you feel relaxed. You're not even stressed out, nothing. Even in the positions I was at Gray Security, never did I feel that, oh, I'm stressed out. Um, Things just didn't go the way it was
So
planned
as the
today.
years progress, you could see the
Changes
changes.
in the security industry, the challenges and everything just got greater and greater, if you can put it that way.
Mm.
Okay, then
Yeah,
um,
tell us. I know the story. I think maybe the audience will like the story of the time when there was the 2001 tax in America, and how that affected your dimension with the
okay,
with the bomb threats.
coming to that, I was still working for Grey Security at that time.
Hmm.
I was at the building called number 5 on St. George's Mall,
That's
right?
in town.
That's in town, in
But
St. George's Mall, right?
yes.
We had two big companies that was obviously renting space in that buildings. One of them was the big law firm, Sonnenberg, Hoffman, and Columbus, and the other one was Investec,
Hmm.
right? Where they had Investec Private Bank, Investec Asset Management, and I got to that building. I don't know if it's just pure luck or coincidence or what it was, but Cape Town was experiencing a series of bomb threats.
Hmm.
And that St. George's Mall building was one of the buildings that experienced a vast amount of bomb threats in a short period of time. And obviously, Grey Security was doing the security services there. And then once again, Grey
Great
Security
security.
management saw it fit to send me to this building. Um,
In what capacity did they send
that
you?
that time I was like a senior on the site that they moved me from. No? I was a
Site
senior,
supervisor.
yeah, site supervisor basically. So they moved me now as a site supervisor to this site.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But I think, looking back at it, I think it was more not to run the security on site or whatever. As they were using my
Expertise.
expertise basically, and knowing I would be calm in situations like that. And the other issue with that building was like 95% of the security staff there was women.
Okay.
All right. So obviously you have a issue there also, when it comes to certain aspects of the security work that needs to be done on the site. It was
Mm.
very difficult for women maybe to perform their duties. Okay, so I went there. Now here's the fun part. I went there. I was introduced by my management to the security staff on site. Now coming into the building, you had this big foyer there. So the girls was all standing in the foyer there, and they introduced me. As they were busy doing that, whoop, there this fire alarm goes off. What, now, I'm like new in this building. I don't know what's going on. So what's happening now? Oh, that's a bomb threat again. One of the girls remarked, the security girls remarked, that's a bomb threat that's going off. So what's happening next? Oh, the building needs to be evacuated. Right? So how do you guys do that? No, that's not our problem anymore. You in charge, so you must do it. And I'm like, huh? And like they took me to
They
a
threw
room.
in a deep end,
Yeah,
eh?
throwing me in the deep end. They took me to a little room. there was this desktop with the mic on there, and there was this page there with 5 or 6 steps on there as to how to evacuate the building. So basically, what you need to do now is you have to read those 5 or 6 steps on there. So anybody that can read that. But I soon afterwards noticed and realized what was the issue, why they had a problem with the security staff that was currently on the site when it comes to this bomb threats. Because you must now remember, they had something like 21 bomb threats in 1 month. That's a lot
That's
of
a lot of
that's a
bomb.
lot of bomb threats, right? And so I went there. I remember I went on my knees because I was so nervous. I went on my knees and I started reading the steps now, right? And then everybody now evacuated and whatever. So we were all standing outside. And I remember our crew, security crew, was standing in a huddle. And it was obvious that I noticed that the other people coming from the building, um, I assumed that time it was management, right? By the way they were dressed or whatever. So there was like two huddles standing there and then they joined together. And I noticed all these things because I noticed all these people were coming out of the building. And they were having their own discussion and they were pointing in our direction where our security staff was standing. And then they called one of our managers over. He went over, they had a small little discussion, and then they called me over. I'm in trouble. I did something wrong or whatever. Because those
Yeah.
people don't know me. Why would they call me now?
And it's your
And
first day. All
it's
this
my
is
very first day. I'm not even there for 2 hours.
and you were thrown in the deep end. Wow, huh?
That is being thrown in the deep end.
Yes.
And then basically, these two white women, they were thanking me, saying that I did the evacuation procedure. It was cool and calm, and it was clear, and everything was, according to them, was just perfect. Nobody panicked. Everybody knew what to do. There wasn't people asking, what did he say now or whatever. Um, and they were thanking me, and I was like, okay, thank you, whatever. And so it went on, all right, until this bomb threat thingy subsided now in Cape Town, whatever. And from there, obviously, I went to the Claremont Improvement District, and from there, the Mutual Park. That is how the whole thing is. But then after
So
a
that
year,
so that laid the foundation to see who you are, who Johnson is, basically. That you have the capabilities, that you get thrown in the deep end, and you delivered.
yeah,
And I mean, I think that is. But what people don't realize is that you spent a lot of time to get to that
to get
to get to that point,
yeah, to get to
to
that
be
point.
so under pressure, but you also calm under pressure.
Mm.
And that was a big moment. And what people are failing to understand is, I think that what put you on the map, because that was Investec people there, and what was the other company?
Sonnenberg, Hoffman, Columbia.
Sonnenberg, Harbour. So those were big
Those
companies.
big companies in South
So you
Africa.
obviously impressed big guys. They got to see
Yeah,
what your capabilities.
Obviously, like they said, first impressions
First
last.
impressions
And that was
last.
probably what happened
Because
there.
obviously a bomb threat. Because from what I can remember, what was that place that they used to bomb there at Waterfront? It was
that American place.
that American place, man. Arnold Schwarzenegger owned it.
Planet something, no?
Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood.
Yeah, so it was around that time.
That was around that time.
So
when
I
all
remember,
this,
I remember because that time America was involved in some of these wars and things like that, and that was just around about just before the
just
before the
yeah.
Twin Towers, and we used to get bomb threats.
Yes,
And
yes.
they did, and they used to bomb, but we don't get that anymore now in Cape Town.
No,
It died out.
No, and I think the bombing thing, the worst of that bombing things that actually happened was the Planet Hollywood thing.
Yeah, Planet Hollywood,
yeah.
yes.
There's a lot of places that received bomb threats, but
nothing
actually
happened. But I don't. Do you guys remember any other bombs that was in Cape Town back then?
Not really. I think on the observatory there was
because now
a projectile that went off there, but they weren't sure whether it was connected. Like I said, in the observatory, I can remember. And then obviously the Planet Hollywood thing was a big thing because obviously now it's in the waterfront. Yeah. And so, then one day out of the blue, I lost my cell phone number that everybody else had. I lost it in a motorcycle accident. And then one day out of the blue, I got a phone call on my new phone. I didn't know the number, whatever. I answered the phone, and this voice on the other side told me that they were from Investec. do you remember Investec? And I'm like, yes. But immediately my mind's telling me, where does this people get my number from? And then they told me that they actually got the number from somebody that knew my sister, and my sister gave the number because they were looking for me now for how long. And at the end of the day, what basically happened was they were going to move into their brand new building, which is on the foreshore in the Cape Town head office of Investec Private Bank. And just next to it, Sonnenberg, Hoffman, and Columbia was building their new headquarters as well. So you have these two massive corporate companies building two head offices next to each other. And at the end of the day, both of them were basically fighting to have me to come and work for them. That is basically what the phone call was about. They wanted me to know if I'm willing to come and work for them. They gave me the layout of what they're offering me and whatever. And because I had such a close relationship that time,
Loyalty with your previous,
and
with your current
loyalty,
company.
with Grey Security, I actually went to the directors. I remember Jeremy Warner, and I went to him and sat with him, and I said, Jeremy, I received this offer from Investec out of the blue, right? I don't know what to do because you know my relationship with you guys. And he went over the thing, and he said to me, look, Johnson, the thing is this, we don't want to lose somebody with your caliber, but you have to compare apples with apples here now. We can't compare apples with pears now. And the thing is this, at the end of the day, we, in the next 10 years, for instance, we won't be able to offer you what this people is offering you now. All right. So if it was him, he would say, thank you, Grey Security, but it's time for me to move on. Right. And based on that, I made my decision, and I went to Investec. They didn't.
But I just want to take some, Anna, before you go on, what the message, what I'm seeing here, is on two folds, that you as a loyal staff member had the decency to go to your employer and honor him by doing that, and by even discussing with him, because that's sometimes you still find that it's very rare, but people do still go to the employer and they give them that sort of, that listen here guys, there is an offer. If you're all about growth and them being people with integrity and understanding that also that, yes, to have you, it's great to have you, but they can't offer you what somebody else can offer you. And so on both sides, I can see there's a level of integrity and loyalty, and that was displayed there. And that's what I find beautiful about that story, is that you obviously found Investec is obviously a massive company. I mean, you know, the perks that they're going to give you. And this company looked after you. So I see that is such a nice thing that your employer could give you advice, even so though that advice doesn't benefit him. You understand? That's integrity, because you need to give advice what benefits the actual individual, that doesn't benefit yourself. And I know most people, I mean, we know how people leave. They don't even give you notice. They disappear.
Yeah, I was gonna.
They become magicians.
I was gonna say
appear
that.
And disappear.
I was gonna say that. Look, I think it has got a lot to do with my upbringing, how my parents raised me and stuff like that. You know, that I will always have that decency, if you can put it that way. I felt it's my obligation and responsibility to actually go to people that were treating me well and engage with them.
Quality.
Yeah, engage with them and say, listen, yeah, this is what's on the table there or whatever. I'm not asking you guys to make a decision. I'm asking you for advice. What should I do in a situation like that? And basically, that was the advice they were giving me. And I made my decision. They accepted the decision. And, you know, not long after that, Grey Security actually, they amalgamated with Federal Guarding, and they became, I think it was Group 4 Security. They became that. And after that, it was another name change.
I think G4S.
G4S is now G4S,
Yes.
yeah. No? Eventually, they become G4S now. And all those old people,
they're no longer
they left the industry with the amalgamation.
And now you won't get close to the directors now. None of the security companies.
I don't think so.
No, I'm telling you. There's no the whether you fidelity whatever, you're not gonna get close to Val Bartman or whatever as a
Yeah.
security guard. There's no way you're gonna see that directors. They're flying high, my man. They so the thing is, because now it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers
It's a
game.
numbers game, and now it's about profits. It's about how they can squeeze the thing in, and then they have like this new thing, what they call now coal pack, where they can even where you join this coal pack where they don't even pay your benefits also. So they're looking for ways to squeeze the loss. I mean, the hardest person that works is the guard,
Is the God.
and I mean he takes the most risk,
Mhm.
and then they basically don't. And then now, so back then it was a lot different, but
It was a lot. It was a lot different. Yeah, it was a lot different. Okay, so now I have the interview. I can remember the interview. Investec didn't want me to come to their building, so we had this interview in a restaurant. I was so on my nerves that I didn't even throw sugar in my coffee. I was drinking the coffee, just so bitter,
Is it-
but it was tasting so nice.
But it's a good
I
habit
was,
now
I
to
was,
stay
I
without
was
sugar.
never gonna even show any glimpse to this guy that's doing the interview that there's no sugar in my coffee. I was just like sipping this coffee. It was the nicest coffee that time. But anyway, I got the job, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah.
And the thing is, I got the job, and then
How's that feeling?
started off.
Were you married then?
No.
You weren't married. Single guy getting a job at Investec, eh?
Yeah.
From Mitchell's Plain. Wow, congrats, eh?
Getting the
That's
job.
a big thing, guys.
Getting the job.
Dreams
there,
can happen,
and,
eh?
And then, from there, everything just like looked up. Because at Investec, you could do studies and stuff like that. They pay for it as long as you
Wow.
passed it and that. And I was like, okay.
You took advantage of that,
I was
eh?
like, okay, I'm going to do a full IT course because I was always interested in IT. So I'm going to do a full IT course. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to apply for housing subsidy, all the stuff, man,
Beautiful.
all the stuff. But then things also in the background was happening at Investec and stuff like that. And then, unfortunately,
And then we know what happened.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
this
guys.
Twin
Twin Towers, eh?
thing happened. And then, it's, Investec was perceived as American company, which they're not. They're actually a Jewish South African
Yes.
company. And look, when it happened, all right, like everybody was in shock. I remember we sitting in front of the screens there in Investec because we had this massive control room, and we were sitting in this on some of the screens, and we were watching everything live. CNN, Al Jazeera, whatever we could watch, just to get more information at what is happening now. And then obviously also you could hear the rumors in the building about the financial markets and stuff like that. And then
Like what we're feeling now with the oil. Everybody didn't know what's going on.
yeah,
with the
you
oil
don't know
now.
what's going on. Yeah,
That time was financial
those
markets,
people,
yeah.
those people are experts. They can predict, the oil price is going to go boop, boop, bow, whatever. And you start like, okay, this is happening and whatever. But I was like in the security industry, but you did learn a lot of things outside the security
Obviously,
industry.
you had the
Right? I became like, small, medium expert on financial markets and stuff like that, without even realizing it. But you mix with those people.
you the average of the 5 people you spend the most time
And
with.
do you know what would I regard as my highlights during my time at Investec? Was when that time it was President Thabo Mbeki, right? You had the finance minister was Trevor Manuel.
Mhm.
You had those guys visiting Investec
Wow.
on a regular basis.
So they used to see, used to greet them.
On a regular basis. Not just the shaking their hands. The thing that stood out for me was before they come and visit there, right? Their security detail will come there 2 or 3 days before the time. And then we basically hand the building over to them. They take charge, right? But being the senior person there on site, because I was in charge of the external security company that was there, including the cleaning companies and whatever, all external people that was there, I was basically the guy in charge. It was the time I spent with the security people and seeing how they operate, how they
Nice.
do things. That was like an eye-opener because you being in a normal, say, security job, you don't see things like that,
Mm.
right? In the army, yes, you do things almost similar like that, but not on that level that they do it, right? Everything is professional, it's precise. Time is of the
detail is-
essence, like that was for me. That was like an eye opener. That was a major experience for me.
Your exposure to that
the
now,
exposure
you're now
to
to
that.
delegates and politicians, and
And
but that's
and
special
also
tasks. That's a special task
that's a
forms.
special task, no?
Yeah,
And then also the other thing that stood out was
because they're not security.
diversity. No, they're not security. The diversity of people that you met and actually were dealing with, right? As you look at back, as you were just a security guy and you were dealing with millionaires. Like there's a guy I remember coming in there on a Tuesday. You would have flip flops on, wrinkled shorts, and then any kind of sweater. He looked like somebody that can just walk down the road, going around the corner to the corner shop, maybe. But he was a multi-millionaire. Used to come there every Tuesday, newspaper under his arm. And he would go to the second floor, which is the private banking section, and then they would discuss his finances and stuff like that. Then he would come out, he would greet everybody, shake hands with you, ask you how you're doing and stuff like that. And then one day, I was like, who's this guy? Because I noticed he comes here every Tuesday night. And they told me it was one of the richest guys in South Africa. You know, Marcus Jooster of Steinhoff.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Was him walking.
Wow.
But the way he
Guys,
was dressed and
You
stuff
don't
like
have to be arrogant if you get money. It's generally the people that it's new money. You know, the guys that's new money. Not all the time. I'm not stereotyping, but generally people that get money for the first time, they need to show off with it, and they need to like everybody need to see, hey guys, I got so much money and whatever, and then they're the ones that want to put other people down and whatever, and they don't have the respect, they don't have that common courtesy. You know, so I think that a lot of times when people get money, it doesn't actually change them. It actually exposes the inside. You understand? Because if you're a good person, you'll just do more good things. If you're an ass, you're just gonna be a bigger asshole. So I just think that guys, you know what? For me, I don't know. You can have what cause? You can be the richest. You can be Bill Gates. You can be flipping Elon Musk. I think he's gonna be a trillionaire. You know, that doesn't. Or you can have whoever you are. If you don't treat people kind and with respect, for me, I don't see anything like that.
fully agree.
For me, if you have a stinking attitude, if you just think you like God's gift to anything because you got certain things and whatever, you something, you must know that one day your body is going to be eaten up by insects. You know that because when you're gonna die, you're not going to take that with you in the grave.
Exactly.
So what the hell are you being so arrogant for?
Yeah,
But anyways, I know I'm just I know I'm going a bit on a tangent because it is a bit of a holy month and it's the last 10 days, and I do feel that I should give because if you're telling me that somebody treated you well and is a wealthy man, it shows that it's character.
It's character.
So it's not all about when you're getting money that you need to be an asshole.
Yeah, no, and so after the Twin Towers and whatever, obviously financial side of
Markets
things,
crashed, obviously.
crashed, and we went into some kind of a recession and the decision was made to retrench, not just by Investec but other financial institutions as well. And you know the story,
First in,
last out, last in, first out, that kind of thing. And Investec made the decision to retrench one person in each one of their departments, and not just use one department and retrench 10 people, right? So that decision was made, and unfortunately, in my department, I was the last one in. So I was retrenched. It was a shock because, like I said, I was busy with certain things, right, for my future.
That must have been a dark moment, eh?
It was a dark moment. It took me almost 2 years to get over it, properly get over it.
Yeah, because right. you built your foundation and your
yeah,
and
then I did some stupid things. I know I was renting a house that time in Colorado Park in Mitchell's Plain. This is supposed to be one of the upmarket areas in Mitchell's Plain. And I was at home, and you got money now, and just chilled at home and spend the money and whatever. And then when the money was up, you realize, hey, I need to put food on the table and whatever. And then came another shock, because I'm in the security industry now. I'm not interested in going to the police force now, because obviously I'm older now and whatever, and I've come to love what I was doing in the security industry. So naturally, you're gonna look for security jobs now. And then came the big shock. I went to most probably 20 odd interviews, right? In each and every one asked me for my payslip for my previous employer. And that was already for me like, you're wasting your time. Because if they're going to see my payslip, they're never going to offer me a job, right? And that was just the thing because one guy was honest enough with me. He called me in. He was in Spin Street in Cape Town for a company called ACIS, which was standing for African Intelligence Commercial Security. The guy was honest enough and he said to me, look here, if I employ you, you're going to leave the job within 2-3 weeks. You know why? Not because you don't like it, because somebody else is going to offer you more money than you're going to go, because I can't offer you even a third of what this guy is offering you or whatever. I said to him, I was begging him basically. I said to him, I need to put food on the table. I didn't come here expecting you to offer me that salary. I didn't come here expecting you to offer me half of that salary. I just need to get my foot into this, get money, put food on the table, and blah, blah, blah. And then I'll take it from there. But I must tell you one thing, I'm not just going to drop you. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not just going to drop you. Right. So he told me, let me know. He phoned me 2 weeks after that. Now, just a small little history about this guy and this company was he was a security guard, worked for 2 months in Salt River at some site. And then he decided, hey, this is not for me. I can start my own security company. Now, at that time, and I'm speaking under correction, at that time, you just need to basically had a landline. You had to have 2 people on your application that would vouch that they would make use of your security services. And that's it. Pay your registration fee and that's it. And there you open a security company. And then this is how this guy got things. His daddy was running this corner shops. And he just let 2 of his friends sign the papers there to say, hey, we will, the buy in the corner. We will make use of your security service. He'll stand at the gate, the door, whatever.
So this is the guy you wanted employment from?
Yeah. This is a little history as to how he came to be in the security industry. And then he got 1-2 sites, 1-man sites or whatever. Then he got a 3-man site. When I came there to him, he had 6 sites, of which 4 were 1-man sites, which means it's 1 person day shift, 1 person night shift, 1 person off, right? And he had 2 sites where there's 3 guards on a day shift, 2 on a night shift, right?
Because he was quite small then.
He was quite small, man. Just starting it off now.
So that's why you were saying he's not going to be able to keep you.
Yeah, but I didn't know that time. You're a security company, so I'm going to apply now for a job there. I didn't know that he only had a few sites and stuff.
So where's he going to get?
Yeah. So then he phoned me one day and he said to me, I think I got something for you if you're interested. And if you know the Grand Parade in Cape Town, opposite the Grand Parade, they built that big, massive universal church.
Yes.
And right opposite, there's some very, the castle's on this side of the robots. Yeah. On that side of the robots,
side is a universal.
There is some very old historic buildings there. Huh? And he said to me that he's got this contract. It's a 1-man site. He's got this contract. He can offer me 2,000 rand a month, right? If I'm interested. I took it. I didn't care where am I working, what side. That's who's going to give me 2,000 rand sitting at home. So I took it, all right? And I worked on that site for 3 months. You're all alone there. There's nothing in that building, right? And opposite, they just started off with this universal church building. They're building their own church there. And then he got the contract on that church to provide the security over there. And I worked there for 3 months. And out of the blue, one day he called me. He said to me, I know you're working night shift, but can you come into the office because I need to have a very serious conversation with you. And I went and he said to me, look here, how would you like to run my operations for me? And I'm like, I'm running operations. Okay. More money, whatever. But what he failed to tell me at that moment in time was that he just He the big jackpot now. He got the contract of the city of Cape Town colleges. He got that contract, right? So now the guy is gonna expand tenfold, right, overnight, and obviously he need now because he was running everything alone. And we were running through some things, and I decided to give it a go. But the one thing that he did was he promised me that now, at this moment in time, he's not going to raise my salary, but we'll see how it goes after a month, right?
Okay.
We'll see how it goes after a month. I didn't like the deal, but hey, this is opportunity. Mr. Msaki, I was working 24/7. I never saw home, basically. If I did, was I was eating my plate of food, and halfway through my food, phone rang. They're doing this on this site, and the client is threatening now to chase security of the site. Then I have to be there. And we covered a vast area. We covered from Simonstown. He expanded so quickly. He had sites in Simonstown, Hout Bay, Sea Point, Camps Bay, coming down Salt River, whatever, now into Athlone, where the colleges and stuff is, whatever. So that was basically my route every single day, in the morning, in the afternoon, because I did postings, I did payroll stuff. I basically did everything for him, right? And he was obviously enjoying the finer things of life now because he's got money. He bought himself new cars, new house in Paro, stuff like that. And yeah, yet I am struggling because he hasn't raised my salary 1 inch. Whenever I try to have a
How
conversation,
long was this going on for?
this was now going on for more than 6 months now. No?
And he kept you on the same salary.
Exactly. So now I'm trying to have
Oh my
conversation.
word,
No,
that's daylight
he
robbery.
was basically, sweet toothing me. He gave me a company car. Right.
What's up
So,
with the security bosses, huh? Do they think you guys are
look,
modern day slaves or something, huh?
but I saw something else coming that time. I saw something else coming because with
Disappointing, man.
with the success that is now achieved in a small space of time.
It'll be
He was
short-lived.
he was doing funny things because his wife was working shifts at the Cape Grace Hotel in Cape Town, right? And so he would call me in the evenings if we had now a quiet evening. He would call me and say, "Hey, can you meet me?" Remember, I'm in Mitchell's Plain. He's in Paro. Can you meet me? What's it? I think it was the PP Garage or Shell
Hey,
Garage
lekker.
in Claremont. They're opposite the Claremont Hospital. No, where Pick and Pay. I don't
Yes.
know if Pick and Pay is still there. The garage there. We meet there. Then we now supposedly we go visit the sites, going up to Simonstown and whatever.
Yes.
And then we end up by the Cape Town sites. And then
Mm-hmm.
I would come home, and then he would meet his wife. They pick her up and it. But things quickly started never turning out like that because he let the wife use the company transport home. And then he wants to go visit strip clubs and stuff like that. Now he would pull me along. And I thought to myself, the first two,
Dirty
three, the,
directors
the,
here,
the, the,
nah?
the
Eish.
first, the first two, three times, it was kind of exciting. But after I told myself, hey, I remember at that time now I'm married now, and I'm like, this is gonna get me into trouble. This is gonna get you into trouble, bro. You got money. You can't do this every time now. And what about my time? And I spoke to him about it, and don't worry, enjoy. You want 300 rand? Yes, take 300 rand. This, that kind of thing. And I said, hello, when are
That's
we?
gonna end end in
Yeah.
disaster.
And then one day I went to him and I said, I want to have a serious conversation with him. And I laid down everything and I said to him, look, I've been doing all this. I basically run your whole company alone. You just go see new clients every time, right? Or potential new clients. But the ones that you have, I'm basically running everything. And yet, do you know what salary I am on? Even the guards pay more than me, right? And we had this conversation, and he said, give him a day, he'll come back to me. Within that day, I made my decision. I'm leaving because I had a conversation with my wife. I explained to her everything, and she said to me, "You know what? There's two things that she's noticed because she also had a security background that time."
Mm-hmm.
She said to me, "There's two things. You get two scalums, a security guard, and Marv for saying this,
Security
but
boss.
this was her thing. She said a boss. She didn't say security boss. She said a boss."
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her why.
There's no mark, but I agree with you.
I said to her, "Why did you say that?" She said to me, "Because security person is a person on a premises that knows everything. He knows the ins and outs, he knows the pitfalls, he knows everything. So it's easy for him to steal. The second person is the boss of the company. Who's going to suspect him from stealing from his own company? Nobody. Did you ever see if the guard search people going out? They'll search all the small ones. They don't search the boss with his briefcase that he go out. They're like, hi, sir. And there the guy goes. It made me think that time when she was saying something like that. No? And then I went to him and I said to him, look, guy, here's your car keys. I'm not coming back. This is not for me. Because besides the way you've treated me, right? After everything I've done for you, right? Besides the way you've treated me, there's something else that you're doing that's going to be your downfall. And I don't want to be part of it, right? He knew exactly what I was talking about. And I left. He begged me to stay. I left, right? And then I decided to go out of the security industry.
But I mean, the thing is, the story's it's mind-boggling. I mean, 2,000 rand, and that's that what year was that in? And what was minimum wage back then? I don't think
The minimum wage that time, on average, the guards that was working for him,
yes,
right? And he was paying, the bare minimum, right?
yeah,
The guards that was working for them came home with about 4,500 rand a month.
4,500 rand.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm getting
So
a straight 2,000.
How do you manage? For me, that he basically exploited you.
No, that was exploitation.
That's
obviously,
that I would think different to the Chinese factories where that child labor where they pay you $2 hours. That's what they did with you.
But you know what?
Shocking,
But
man.
you know what? I was although I knew that was wrong, and I was suffering that time, I was looking at the bigger picture. I was trying to gain experience.
Okay, then
Right.
yes,
I was-
and
This is something new for me. I was trying to gain experience, right? So sooner or later, this is going to end. But if I go somewhere else, I can at least say I've got experience in this and that and that, right? Although the money was an issue.
Okay, that's another angle. But okay, so I just want to bring it now to more current affairs. So just I know some of the audience want to know, like maybe you said you were not Muslim and then you became.
Yeah, no, I was.
So
I
how
was.
did that?
I was. I was obviously Christian, and then I went through a terrible divorce for reasons I
No,
would
you don't
not
have to
like
say.
to. Yes. All I would say there, it was like it was something to got to do with a house and the Cape Town.
No, we're more interested in how what made you want to revert to Islam, though. What was the whole?
Okay, no, that time I wasn't thinking about Islam or,
Yes.
or turning into Islam or whatever. I wasn't thinking so. It all started with a divorce thing, right? I went through something that where women was concerned. I didn't want to get involved with anybody. I was like despising them and stuff like that. This happened at the same time when I went out of the security industry, right? And I was at home and my sister came to me one day. She was working in a big factory in Epping, right? She came to me and she said to me, "You can't do this to yourself. You can't lay here in a room all day,
Feeling sorry
week
for yourself."
after week. Yeah, then you need to get up and do
Yeah.
something." And I'm like, whatever. Then one day she came to me and she said, "Look, my operations manager said, we always near the end of the year we take on extra stuff. So instead of laying here, why don't you come?" I told him about you, and why don't you come and just come work until the end of the year? I think it was October, so you basically had 3 months until the end of the year, kind of thing. September, October, yeah, around about that time. Why didn't you go? And then she was nagging me, and I decided, okay, let's go. All right. So I went there. I came to this massive factory that they had there, and I started off in their warehouse. And I was looking at the warehouse, and they basically had a stock take like a couple of days before I started there. So everything there was like a mess. And I'm like, how can people do stock take if the stock is all over the place? How do you do stock take? My mind is now working overtime. Then I went to the boss and I said to him, "Listen here, I know you're putting me into this position here now, but I have a problem. You guys had a stock take a couple of days before. How was your stock take result?" And said to me it was poor. I said, "I can see why. because there's steps there with a certain code. There's steps on top of that
Mm-hmm.
thing there with the same code. So how do you people count this stuff? And I said to him, if you allow me, right? If you allow me, give me 3 weeks. I'm going to clear your whole warehouse. Give me a heister driver because I can't drive a heister. Give me a
Yeah, yeah.
heister driver. I'll clear your whole warehouse and I'll fix everything for you. All right? We did that and all that. But in the meantime, I met this girl on the train. I didn't know she was Muslim. I met this girl on the train by accident. She didn't know where she was going. So she came to me. She got onto the train on Philippi Station. Now, if you know the train stations, you know Philippi Station, that's where all the Africans get onto the train. And the train all of a sudden gets very full.
Yes.
So here's this Indian-looking, beautiful girl coming through the masses of people, coming to me and asking me now for directions and stuff like that, which I must now obviously gave her and stuff like that. And then the next day I saw her again on the train. But I didn't think much of it and whatever. And then I've realized that we're both getting off on the same station and basically walking in the same direction. And that is how the conversation started. But remember what I told you, I don't want anything to do with women.
Yes.
Like, so I'm very shy and whatever. So she's kind of doing the talking, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
just, the necessaries and whatever. And then I think she was the one that it was just a temporary contract thingy that she was doing at the place that she was working. And she said to me, hey, we're not going to see each other on the train anymore. And she felt so safe traveling with me and all those things. And okay, whatever. And we didn't exchange phone numbers or nothing, right? It was just a goodbye, and there it goes. And then a week after that, I think I saw on the train again because they extended but because we don't have phone numbers and stuff, she
Yes.
couldn't like contact me and say
Okay.
whatever. And so automatically she was now back there. But there was something about this girl that was just different. There was totally something about her that was different. That was attracting me in a silent way because
Mm.
I wasn't like, okay, I want to be interested now and know more about you. I just kept my distance, but there was something, right? And my father that time, he just had a stroke. And he was a very deep religious Christian man,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I won't say at that time, I won't say, looking back at it, I won't say he hated Muslims or anything like that. But just if you mention Muslim people in his conversation, then he's always like, I don't think they're good people because they do this and do this. They don't believe in this. They don't believe in that. He was that kind of person. But
Okay, stereotyping.
but bear in mind that half of my school friends was Muslims. I know some of them today is imams and they used to come to my house and they would used to love my mother's cooking. My mother make lunch
Yes,
for us
yes,
and
yes,
stuff
yes.
like that. They used to love it. But my mother had that respect, knowing that they don't eat like pork and stuff like that. My mother would never do stuff like that. And they would love to come to my place, right? So I never had an issue with Muslim people in general, all right? But my daddy, it's like, okay, leave him like that. So me and this girl, our relationship kind of, grew closer and closer. We ended like making extra time to spend time with each other, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there's going to be some interest and stuff. And I never thought of her like even as Muslim. Besides, I think I knew her 4 weeks already and I didn't even know her name. I never even asked her name because I was never going to be serious with this woman or girl or whatever. But then things, God, Allah obviously had different ideas because things started working out in a different way, man. And then it so became that I introduced it to my family, and bear in mind what I just said about my
Yes, about your
father.
dad, yes.
Yeah, he was the one when she walked in by the house. He was the one that we
He,
couldn't explain his reaction.
he knew
It's like,
immediately she was Muslim.
yeah, he knew, but there was just something. He jumped up. He had a stroke, so his movement was very limited. Right?
Yes.
He jumped up from his seat and he went to go make her tea.
Is
My
it?
mother was like, "What's happening here? You never ever done something like
Wow.
that." He went to go make her tea, right? And then from there onwards, it just became, she came there regularly, and it's just like a close bond and stuff like that. The only issue that my mom had was the age difference between us, because there was like a 20-year age difference, 19 to be exact, age difference between the two of us. My mom was a bit concerned about that. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about serious relationship, stuff like that. So what my mom is worried about is not important right now. The thing was this, my whole family accepted her just like that, man. Especially my dad. My brothers, hey, Daddy, he's not saying nothing. He's like basically worshipping this girl, the ground that she's walk on and stuff like that. But it was the way she conducted herself. You see that
Mm.
made them realize, hey, this one is like, this is different. After all, she's human, just like everybody else, irrespective if you're Muslim, Christian, or whatever. She's a human being, first of all. And then things just escalated, and alhamdulillah, it ended up where we got married and stuff like that. And then obviously now the issue with her family was, right?
You're not Muslim.
We're not Muslim. And she knew how our family was going to react, right?
So what? So you embraced before you got married, because obviously, or
No, afterwards.
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 So how was the, so on her side? How did you perform the nikah? You know,
Okay,
the vows and the.
you see, the thing was this. What we did was, we realized that she was pregnant, right?
Okay.
And then, obviously, as they say, you messed up, and now you have to clean up where you messed up.
Okay.
I wasn't just going to drop it just like that. You know, she was crying and what the family's not going to do because, because of the Muslim Christian kind of thing.
Mm.
And she was telling me what a strict man a daddy was, and this is not going to happen. That they're never going to accept me and all this. So at that time, we think we were doing the clever thing. We went to Home Office and we got married. Now nobody can do us nothing. We're married now, right?
Okay.
So then afterwards, only we went to the family, right? Half of the family accepted me just as I am. Immediately, the others had their reservations and stuff like that. But you're married to our daughter now, to our sister now, whatever the case may be. So we'll accept it, but bear in mind that we're unhappy about this and that and that. And then, from there, we took it step by step.
Okay.
Right?
So then it was a journey as you.
Yeah.
Because now you.
At my age, it was now difficult for a person like me now all of a sudden right now to learn and understand Arabic. First of all, I had the Quran, and that was not everything was now new things for me to learn, right?
What was your age?
And she had to now like
What was your age?
when, like I said, there's a 19-year age
No,
gap
I'm
between
saying
the two
I'm
of-
talking about for you. How old were you
when I got married. Let me see, what am I now? We are married now for 14 years, so that would have made me 41.
41. Okay.
Yeah.
So you basically embraced around about that when you were 41.
When I was 42.
42.
42.
So when
Because
you.
it took me a year, just a year and a half, basically, right? Like, is this what I want to do? Because I want to do it for the right reason,
Okay.
right? It shouldn't now just be to.
No, it's
to-
fine. So I mean,
it shouldn't be to please other people. It should
100%
be because
yes.
I want.
So then what?
I want to do it,
What
right?
made you? What in the religion made you convinced you? That you saw some truth in this.
There was a lot of things I always admired about the Muslim religion. For instance,
No, I'm talking about like for you now. Now you're gonna
now
now.
for me now, and now I'm in this.
Yes. So
right?
what was
Now-
what was the thing on the religious side that you thought, hey, listen, it's not going to be a bad thing for somebody that's listening out there that like.
Look, it's
like
gonna. It was always gonna be at my age, right? If I was younger, it would have been easier. But at my age, it was always gonna be the thing. Like
you must fast, you must make salah and all that.
fasting wasn't that much of an issue because the Christians also do it, right?
Okay.
So it wasn't that much of an issue. But now, like I said, at my age was an issue here for me and obviously for other people, but for me because now all of a sudden you have to learn Arabic things. You have to learn now. You have to go to the mosque, and I was in a mosque before I met her, right? Because I played rugby for a predominantly Muslim club, and
So it's always there. So you always.
but
near the-
always look,
so this-
it was
that's
like I said. The only issue was my father that had this thing, but me never had an issue with
Is your
it.
father still alive?
No, he passed away a couple of years back, 11 years to be precisely now.
Okay.
In September, sorry, in February, it was 11 years that he passed away.
But an
And
interesting story. You don't have to go too much because I know we have to wrap up soon. The thing is so, but yeah, it's so it's basically the marriage was the one that.
so the marriage was the one, yes, and then obviously we had to take it step by step. After that,
Rightly
we
so.
made a decision. While I was like Christian and she was Muslim, we made a decision. The kids, whatever kids is coming afterwards, inshallah, it's going to be raised Muslim. Period.
Mhm.
That came from me. She never put any pressure on me, right? That purely came from me. That is how I wanted to be. And then, yeah, we took it step by step from there, one thing after another. And until I decided, okay, now it's the right time. Now I'm fully going to embrace this now, right? I went to a daddy and said, listen, yeah, now is the time. And then the way it goes in the religion, the boys all gathered, the brothers now and
Took
whatever,
shahada.
and yeah, and
Subhanallah.
then
Ah,
we went to the mosque and we did what we needed to do.
yes,
And
yes, yes.
they were like, you know, you could see on their faces, man. You could see on the faces, like you're part of us now. You're a brother now, like,
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
and the rest of the family, right? Aunties, everybody. They even the time when I was still Christian, nobody, you know, made me feel like I'm not welcome in their homes and stuff like that. But this was probably going to do a lot with my personality. I don't know.
Mm,
But people just embraced me and made me feel welcome. And at the end of the day, that made it very easier for me
mm.
to embrace and accept Islam fully. But the issue was, what about my family? The Christian side of it,
Yes.
right? That was the issue, right? So unfortunately, my dad passed away before this transition happened,
Is it?
right? Yes, he passed away before that.
So you didn't witness it.
He didn't witness that, right? Um, he
Okay.
did he did witness the obviously the firstborn. He was absolutely ecstatic with
Just made up.
this made up thing or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
Well, once the
Right?
kids come, all that goes out of the way. Yeah,
It
changes everything because it's
changes
a new life.
everything. That was I know.
No,
That's what I
but
noticed.
thanks for sharing that story. It's an amazing story. I know we were supposed to get onto the security side, but I just thought that
I think there's a part two coming here.
yes. I think we will call you. We'll get you back. But I mean, thanks for me. I don't know if your wife will be. I hope she's okay because a lot of people will be listening to this and they will take. Some people will actually maybe they will take some lessons from it because it's not an easy
I
situation that you're going through.
I think my wife, if I must tell my wife now how this went, she would be surprised, shocked, but also very relieved because I say relieved because I don't think she would ever thought that I would discuss this with anybody.
Okay, so this is actually the first
She
time.
knew what I was gonna come do here. She knew what more or less what it was gonna be about. This part of this whole interview, I don't think she expected it. I mean, when I walked
No.
before I walked in here,
I
I didn't know
no,
this is gonna come
because
up. But
I just
I actually feel like a relief because I never discussed this with anybody, right? Besides me and close thing. So, um, just to come before we wrap up, just to come back to the Christian side of my family, right?
Mhm,
So how are they gonna accept this? How are they gonna like? I got two older sons, right,
mhm.
from a previous relationship for my wife now. So they big boys now. One is turning 21 now next month. So how are they gonna accept this and that? Um, everything was just falling into place nicely, man. This was probably the way I also brought up my kids and stuff like that, no? That it wasn't too difficult for them. Like the one that's turning 21 did have a conversation with me one day and said, Daddy, did you throw me away? And I'm like, oh, because where's this question coming from? What do you mean by that? He was actually referring to you turning Muslim or whatever,
Mm.
right? And I said, son, never would I do that. Never. I said, when me and your mother had to part ways, right? There was a legal issue involved. And I said to you, she dumped you by me. And I said to you, because of this legal issue, you need to go live by her. Because I don't want to have any legal issues.
Mm.
But remember, I will always be your father. And this and that is the reason why you need to be there. But I'll always be there for you. and that is how it's always been, right? And I think that's why he kind of embraced this whole change much better than I thought they would, right? And alhamdulillah, today he is in a very serious relationship with a Muslim girl.
It's like father, like son.
You know,
Oh my,
I was shocked.
oh my.
I was shocked when he said to me, Daddy,
Yeah.
I'm actually getting serious. There's somebody serious in my life now, and I would like to introduce it to you and whatever.
It's nice.
I never asked him anything. I was waiting for him to come. And when he introduced them, like, and he said yes. And wow, thanks to the and now today, I'm not putting any pressure on him. He must make his own decisions. Right? He's big enough now, whatever. I would give him advice if he come and ask me for it. But I've noticed they've been together now for the last almost 4 years, and I've been watching their progress and stuff like that. Né? And I know you get a lot of because both of my sons, even the one that is, thing is, both of my sons is very close with my wife. They would share things with my wife. They don't
Don't
share
share
with
with you.
not share with me, right? And I might get my information from her and whatever. And this one with the Muslim girl is like, they're like quite serious. They're discussing marriage and stuff like that and whatever.
All the
And
best. I hope it's you see it's
one of
it
these
rubbed off.
one of these days, I was probably gonna get. I know he's turning 21. I hope I'm not getting the surprise on his 21st, but I think it's coming.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. All the best.
And I
Mr.
think I know which way he's going. So
That's good. That's good. But other than that, how's things working at your current job at the moment? How's things? You're working with your current team and things like that, eh?
look, coming back to Wise Guy, October this year, inshallah, I'll be 4 years with Wise Guy.
4 years, eh?
Mhm.
It's lots of things that happen in the company. Lots of people that's
Lot of
been here, no
people
longer
that is
here.
left here. People that I miss, like Sportele them and whatever.
Yeah, people passed away also, eh?
Yes.
You guys are like a family, eh?
Yeah, I have to say so. Yes, we forged very close bonds. Me and Baxter, me and Sporte. Even not just with them, but with their families as well. And we became a very, like would I like to say, a close knit family. You know the difference when I came to Wise Guy, I was basically tricked into coming here by my brother-in-law who used to work here as well, because I never wanted to come back to the industry, like tasting, doing the things that I did outside security. COVID changed a lot of things
For a lot of people, yeah.
for a lot of people, obviously, yeah. And then I was again forced to be at home for a certain time after COVID, and the stuff happened because of COVID. So I was at home, and my brother-in-law, he obviously had other ideas why he wanted me to come and work for the security company, and he basically tricked me to come here, and I'm not gonna bitch and moan about it because I'm still here now, and that is because I actually love this industry. I actually love that. That's why I can't stay away from it. I said, one of the reasons I said I'm not coming back to the industry was working shifts. I'm done with it. Being away from my family, being away from my kids, especially now that my kids are still young, I'm done with it. I'm not going back to the security industry where I work day shift, night shift. I'm done with it. That was one of the things. Yeah, after 4 years, I'm still working day shift and night shift. I'm still here. The thing is this, at the end of the day, I found out that this is not just a job for me, man. It was always, once I've made up my mind, it was always going to be a career thing. Right? It's the only regret that I have from being in this industry that I haven't stayed in it and actually worked my way, because I've been approached many times, why don't you open your own security company and stuff like that? Put that on the back burner, whatever. Put that on the back burner.
It's not for everyone, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of stress, and I think a lot.
I think I've seen this with the guy that I did the ops job for, that working 24/7. I realized, hi, bro, this is not for me right now.
It's a lot of stress, guys.
It's a lot of
Compliance,
stress.
guys. Compliance is where the directors fail. Let me tell you, the SARS, the Provident Fund,
But
the Koida.
like you mentioned earlier, is if you got the right team with you, it makes it that much easier, right?
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying it's very disciplined.
Yes,
because I would tell anybody that guys, I'll take this out. Let's see if lots of people, like, if I should take this out like a 200 rand, guys, is like a note, and I tell you, listen here, this is 200 rand, and you basically only 50 rand is yours. You know what I'm saying? 150 has to go somewhere else. Most people can't handle that. They will see this 200 rand and they want to take the whole 200 rand and eat it and maybe keep a half a portion left over there. And that's the problem. People don't have discipline. Now, when you don't have discipline with money, there's no way you would think that and also sometimes guys, sometimes in business, here's 100 rand you make, 20 rand is yours. Now, what guys can't understand is that I want more than 20 rand. And when you take more than the 20 rand, because the 80 rand you have to pay everybody. You have to pay SARS, you have to pay labor, you have to pay everything. What they do is, no, I want to take 60 rand, 50, I'm saying that I want to give 30 rand. You dig yourself a hole. Because that extra money, extra 50 rand, you'll never recover from it. And that's what skills, that's why it's saying so difficult. So you understand, guys, you only going to get a 20 rand. The other 80 rand is going to somewhere else. And if you can't handle that, don't run a business. Because in 3 or 4 years' time, you won't be able to make it. And that's ultimately what it is. Go chat GTP, see why most security companies are closed down or not getting tenders is because of the compliance. They can't manage the compliance. But anyways, guys, Johnson, it's been a pleasure. I think, I know we've took it all different directions. We're supposed to be about security, but I appreciate the story that you're sharing with us about. I think a lot of people that are going to benefit will make that will take from. I think you a very good storyteller. I think if anybody come across you, can tell a story very well. I must say you give nice details, and it's like we're really there at the events, and I think a lot of people appreciate the things about how you navigated through the dream of being at Investec and your dreams getting crushed, what we're all going through disappointments, and then you coming back, and then you met your loved one. I think that's such a beautiful story on the train. Oh my word. I really appreciate it, but hopefully we're going to see you again.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure having you. Any last words you want to say?
That was a pleasure doing this with you guys. I always, when I first saw the podcast on my wife actually saw it and she showed me. I think it was Mr. David. So it was the first person that I saw.
Mr. D, the OG.
And I was looking at this and I thought, I didn't know that the company was having something like this. And it made me interested in it. And I was always like, okay, maybe one day they're going to call one of the guards in, like, we out in the field, call us in and have an interview with us.
And look here today,
like a dream, and then all of a sudden you got me, and here I am. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think it
was going to be more of a nervy thing. I'm going to sit here and
close my legs.
It's a chill thing. I really enjoyed it.
It's a chill thing, guys.
I would love to do something like this with you again.
Yes, maybe
focus on the security side of things.
Maybe we can get maybe 1 or 2 other guys, and we can talk more about some of the incidences that happening and some of the stuff that the guys need to worry about, and give some more insights to the inspectors out there. And
how we deal with certain things. How we deal with certain things.
But anyways, guys, it's been a pleasure. You've been watching the Security Guys. Guys, please, if you like the episode, please like and subscribe it and share it with your people. You know what? You guys make it amazing. We look at all your comments and we look at all the views, and we appreciate it. It's helping us grow our channel so we can upgrade Nigel, so he can get us a better camera and we can look more cooler for you, and we can get a better mic. So everything can be cool, guys. So please like, and watch so our hours can come out so we can start monetizing this channel. You've been watching the Security Guide. Take care.